Nothing is wrong. You know that. You're in a familiar place. The people around you are people you trust. There is no visible threat, no reason to feel this way, and yet something inside you is sounding an alarm. Your chest feels tight. Your thoughts are moving faster than usual. There's a low hum of dread you can't locate and can't explain. You tell yourself to calm down. You remind yourself you're safe, and the alarm keeps sounding anyway. This is the part about anxiety that nobody fully explains. It isn't always about what's actually happening. Sometimes it has nothing to do with the present moment at all. And once you understand what your brain is actually doing when anxiety appears out of nowhere, the feeling doesn't necessarily disappear. But the story you tell yourself about it changes completely. Let's start with something that will reframe everything else. Your brain is not a camera. It doesn't record the world and show it to you as it is. It predicts. Every single moment of your conscious life, your brain is running simulations of what is about to happen. It takes everything it knows from the past, every experience, every outcome, every pattern it has ever noticed, and it uses that information to build a model of what comes next. You don't experience the world directly. You experience your brain's best guess about the world. Most of the time, that guess is accurate enough that you never notice the difference. Reality updates the model. The model adjusts. Life continues smoothly, but here is where anxiety enters. When your brain encounters something it cannot predict with confidence, when the future feels uncertain, when the model has gaps it cannot fill, it generates a feeling designed to get your attention, not a thought, not a logical conclusion, a feeling. Urgent, physical, and impossible to ignore. That feeling is anxiety, and it is not a malfunction. It is your brain's prediction system doing exactly what it was designed to do. But hold that thought, because the question that matters isn't what anxiety is. It's why it fires when nothing is actually wrong. And the answer to that takes us somewhere most people never think to look. Inside the structure of the brain itself, deep in the center of your brain, beneath all the thinking and reasoning and language, sit two small structures called the amygdala. Their job is not to think. Their job is to detect threat and respond to it. And they are extraordinarily fast. So fast that they process incoming information and send the alarm signal before your conscious mind has had a single thought about what's happening. This is why anxiety so often arrives without explanation. You feel it before you know why. Your body is already bracing before your mind is caught up. And this is the detail that changes everything. The amygdala cannot read context. It doesn't know you're safe. It doesn't know you're an adult with resources and options and the ability to reason through problems. It doesn't know the year. It doesn't know your zip code. It only knows patterns. If something in your current environment, a tone of voice, a certain kind of silence, a physical sensation, a half-formed thought matches a pattern the brain has previously associated with danger, the alarm fires, regardless of whether the danger is actually there. Now here is the question worth sitting with. Where did those patterns come from? Some of them came from direct experience. Things that frightened you once and left a mark, but many of them are far older than your own life. Much older. Your brain came preloaded with threat patterns that were written not by your experiences, but by your ancestors. Tens of thousands of years of survival in an environment where danger was immediate, physical, and often fatal. And those patterns don't disappear just because the environment changed. They sit inside the oldest parts of your brain, quietly running, waiting for anything that resembles what they were built to detect. Which means that right now, in your completely safe, climate-controlled, well-lit environment, your amygdala may be responding to a shadow the ancient brain once associated with a predator, or a social tension that once signaled potential exclusion from the tribe, or a moment of uncertainty that once meant the difference between making it through winter and not. The signal is ancient, the environment is new, and your nervous system has no mechanism to reconcile the two. But here is where it gets even more interesting, because there is a specific kind of uncertainty that reliably triggers anxiety more than almost anything else. And it isn't what most people assume. Researchers studying stress discovered something that seems almost counterintuitive at first. People are more anxious when they don't know whether something bad will happen than when they know for certain that it will. A confirmed threat is manageable. You can orient toward it. You can prepare. You can make a plan. But an uncertain threat keeps your nervous system in a state of indefinite readiness. Because if you don't know whether the danger is real, the only rational response from your brain's perspective is to stay alert until the question is resolved. Your brain prefers a bad answer over no answer. And in the modern world, no answer is the default state for most of the things that worry us. Will this work out? Is this relationship going to be okay? Did I make the right choice? What if something goes wrong that I haven't thought of yet? These questions don't resolve. they linger. And a brain designed to stay vigilant until the threat is clear has nowhere to land. So it keeps generating the signal day after day about things that may never happen. In a body that was designed to handle short bursts of danger, not a permanent low hum of it. And this is where the physical cost becomes real. Anxiety is not just a feeling in your mind. It is a full body state. When the alarm fires, cortisol and adrenaline enter your bloodstream. Your heart rate increases, your digestion slows, your immune function shifts. Your muscles prepare for movement. In a short-term emergency, this is brilliant. It gives you the speed and focus you need to respond. But when the alarm stays on, when the threat never resolves, and the body never returns to baseline, those same systems begin to work against you. Chronic cortisol disrupts sleep. It affects memory. It narrows the way you think, making it harder to see options and easier to fixate on problems. It makes the world look more threatening than it actually is. And here is the cruelest part of the loop. Anxiety makes you more likely to notice potential threats. Noticing more threats increases anxiety, which makes you notice even more. Your brain is not spiraling out of control. It is following its own logic perfectly. The logic just wasn't built for this world. So what actually helps? Because this is where most conversations about anxiety stop at the wrong place. They say manage it, reduce it, fight it, but you cannot think your way out of a feeling that bypassed thinking entirely on its way in. The amygdala doesn't respond to logic. You cannot reason with it. You cannot convince it that you're safe by explaining the situation. What it does respond to is the body. Slow, deliberate breathing is one of the most direct signals you can send to your nervous system that the threat has passed. The exhale specifically activates the parasympathetic system, the part of your nervous system responsible for returning the body to calm. Physical movement metabolizes the stress hormones that anxiety generates. Completing the biological cycle the alarm was designed to trigger. And simply naming what you're feeling, saying to yourself, this is anxiety, this is my brain generating a threat signal, activates the prefrontal cortex and measurably reduces amygdala activity. Not because naming it makes it go away, but because naming it changes your relationship to it. You are no longer inside the alarm. You are watching it. And that distance, even a small one, is where everything shifts. Here is what I want to leave you with. The anxiety you feel when nothing is wrong is not proof that something is wrong with you. It is proof that you are carrying a survival system built over hundreds of thousands of years by every human being who managed to stay alive long enough to become your ancestor. The ones who weren't vigilant enough didn't make it. The ones who didn't sound the alarm early didn't survive. The ones who felt uneasy in silence and paid attention to it were the ones who lived. You are descended from the anxious ones. And that system, ancient and exhausting, and sometimes completely maddening as it is, was an extraordinary gift to the version of you that needed it most. The version that lived in a world where the danger was real. You live in a different world now, but the gift came without a return policy. So the next time anxiety arrives in a quiet room where nothing is wrong, you don't have to believe everything it's telling you. You don't have to follow every thought it generates. You just have to recognize what it is. An ancient brain, in a modern world, doing the only thing it knows how to do, trying in the only way it was ever taught, to keep you alive